taken CAT 2025, you'll be in one of these two scenarios. You know that you're going to get a 99.5 plus percentile, and therefore you're expecting to get an admission from the top 6 IIMs and top business schools, including FMS, some of the schools of management at IITs and the likes. Or you could be in the other scenario where CAT 2025 did not go the way you expected. In either scenario, you need to look at one more important option that would give you a higher chance of starting your MBA in 2026. Let's evaluate that option, and that is the Young Leaders Program of the ISB. Let's look at both these scenarios. If you got a 99.5 plus percentile, expecting that, there is still a gap between this 99.5 percentile and converting this into an admission at the black eyes. You know, there are multiple stages. I need not elaborate on it. On the other hand, if you are expecting to get only probably a early 90s, 92, 93 percentile, that's not going to open doors to these IIMs. In that case, you'll be wondering, let me wait out one more year, do serious preparation, and then make 2026 CAT count. You need not wait another year. There is this YLP option, as I had mentioned. Let's see how to make sense out of that. Right. Let's start with the following things. Let's look at the overview of the program. Let's look at the admission process. Let's look at the timelines. And let's look at how you can either leverage your good CAT score or your CAT preparation and cash the 2026 admission cycle for ISB's YLP program. Let's start with the overview of this program. This is not a 1-year MBA program. This is a 2-year MBA program. It's a 20-month MBA program, which is what the IIMs also offer. It starts around July of this year, of 2026. So it would end by March or April of 2028. So it's a regular 2-year program offered by the ISB. They inaugurated this program last year. Let's look at the admission process into this program. This program accepts 3 test scores, right? They accept the CAT. So if you got the 99.5 percentile plus in CAT, you can apply to this program with CAT. You don't need anything else. They also accept the scores from the GRE and the GMAT. Now, if you're in the second category of people for whom the CAT has not gone well, then you can basically look at writing one of these 2 tests, either the GRE or the GMAT, and apply to this program. Let's quickly skim through what the GRE and the GMAT test entail and how we can leverage your CAT preparation into getting a good score in one of these tests. Let's start with the GMAT. Much like the CAT, the GMAT also has 3 sections. Quantitative reasoning section. Topics tested, question types are very similar to what you learned in the CAT. And I can assure you, the questions in the quant section of the GMAT are easier than what you would have seen in the CAT. So in terms of preparation, you don't need to do much at all other than doing some practice to get yourself acquainted with the language that is tested in the GMAT for the quant section. That's it. Right. Move on to the verbal section. Verbal section comprises 2 components in the GMAT. You have a reading comprehension. Reading comprehension is going to be a part of every test. 50+% of the questions that you'll see in the GMAT verbal section will be reading comprehension. So very similar, you know everything. The only difference is the passages are shorter than what you're likely to see in the CAT, and the questions are likely to have answer options which are a little trickier. So you need to invest some time into reorienting your CAT RC into GMAT RC. Will take some time, but definitely doable. The other half of the verbal section is what is called as a critical reasoning. You need to learn a lot there. You need to know how an argument is structured. You need to know what a conclusion is, how to evaluate an argument, what is strengthening, what is weakening. There's a bit of theory to learn and practice. That's going to take time. So verbal section, 1/2, you need to invest time. The third section in the GMAT is the data insights. It's not data interpretation, it's data insights. It comprises 2 parts, if you can call it. One is data sufficiency. You probably are familiar if you're preparing for exams such as the XAT, which is about 30% of the questions. And the remaining 70% is data interpretation kind of information given to you, but it is tested differently and is the toughest section as far as the GMAT goes. So while you'll be familiar with the data patterns, right? You'll know a graph, a table, all those likes, which are going to be similar to what you see in CAT. But how it is tested, how the questions are framed is going to be different in GMAT, and you need to invest time there. So what are the timeline we are looking at? You'll need anything from 60 to 70 days to make sense of converting your CAT preparation into a super duper GMAT preparation. Now, if you choose to go with the GRE route, what does the GRE entail? GRE has an essay called the AWA. You need to write one essay, which is scored on a scale of 0 to 6, which is outside of the main score. I'll talk about the scores finally, right? And then GRE has got two sections, the verbal and the quant. The quantitative reasoning section of the GRE includes a bit of data interpretation also. It's got graphs, tables, and the likes. The GRE quant, again, is easier than the GMAT quant, which was easier than the CAT quant. So if you've done preparation for the CAT quant, you should be able to smoothly sail through the quant section of the GRE. GRE verbal is another cup of tea. It's different from the GMAT. About 50% again is reading comprehension. Passages are even shorter, about 150 words is what you'll see. But there is vocabulary component. Another half is basically what they call as text completion and sentence equivalence questions, which require you to beef up your vocabulary. If you're already good with vocabulary, you don't need to worry. And these are very context-sensitive vocabulary, little more than your day-to-day usage vocabulary. They're not going to ask you to give the meaning of pterodactyl or pleonasm, but you need to know what is serendipity is, right? You need to know what some of these words, which you don't use it too often, but could be tested in the GRE. So your vocabulary needs to be probably 1.25x what a normal person's average usage of vocabulary is. So some amount of work is required there. Again, how long is it going to take? Probably about 60 days to convert your CAT preparation into a GRE preparation. What are the score ranges for it, and what are the uniqueness of these tests that you need to know? The score range for the GRE, the verbal section is scored on a scale of 130 to 170, moves in increments of 1 point. 160 plus is a very good score. The quant section also has a scoring range between 130 and 170, moves in increments of 1 point. 165 plus is a good score. So 325 plus in GRE is going to be a competitive score for the YLP program of the ISB. When it comes to the GMAT, scores move in multiples of 10, starting from 205 points to 805 points. Anything over 675 points is going to be a competitive score. So this is the score. Things that again you need to know about the test. Both the GRE and the GMAT are offered to you in two convenient options. One is the option where you go and take the test in a test center, much like you would have taken it for the CAT. The difference is, this is a center which is open throughout the year, unlike the CAT, which was available only on the last Sunday of November. The GMAT and the GRE tests are available to you 365 days of the year. In Chennai, you look for a center. In Bombay, you look for a center. See whether the slot is open to you on the day you want to take the test. If it's available, much like booking a train ticket or a flight ticket, you block the seat, you basically pay for it, and then you can go and take the test. So you don't have to wait for that one single day of the year to take this examination. What's even more, the CAT score, even for the ISB's YLP program, to apply for the 2026 program, the only CAT score that they will be relevant for you is the CAT 2025 score. But the GMAT and the GRE scores are valid for 5 years. So if you take the GMAT and the GRE right now, have a good score, and for some reason you choose not to apply right now, you want to postpone this application by another year, you want to give CAT another shot, and then look at the YLP program a little while down the line, then you still have the score available to you. Only thing you need to keep in mind is that the YLP program admits freshers and people with up to 24 months of experience. What if you just exceed that by the time you choose to apply? The flagship program, which is a 1-year MBA program, admits people with over 2 years of experience. So the GMAT or the GRE that you write and take a score and keep it is not going to go waste. And it is also going to open doors to quite a few top business schools in India and the rest of the world. 100 plus very, very good business schools in the world you can apply to with this GMAT GRE score over the next 5-year window. Well, there's so much good about it. Is there a caveat that you need to know? Yes. The GRE and the GMAT are also, as I said, conveniently offered to you on an online basis. You can sit in your home and take the test. This is called the home-based online administration of the test. Many, many business schools, including the ISB's YLP program, will not accept the GMAT or the GRE score that you've taken at home. So go to a test center and take that test. Now let's look at the timelines for this. For the ISB's YLP program, the deadline for the second round of application is on the 22nd of February. We have about 70 days in hand. So if 22nd February is the deadline for the application, when can you write the test? You can take this test, either the GRE or the GMAT, as late as February 22nd. The thing is, as you walk out of the examination hall, they're going to give you a piece of paper which will give you your score in the GMAT or the GRE as you walk out of the center. You can scan that, upload it, and your application will be complete. Unlike the CAT, where you take the test one day and then you get your correct answers and the score and everything down the line, here you get your score as you press the submit button of the last question of your test. So February 22nd, probably wouldn't want to postpone it to that late, but that is how late you can take this examination. If you're in parallel processing other components of your application, writing those 3 essays, getting your recommenders to submit the recommendation, getting your resume in place, all of these are in place. Write the test on the 22nd, add that score, pay the fees, submit it, and your application is done. If they shortlist you, within a week of your submitting the application, they'll say all the components of your applications are right, and they'll say that it's a verified application. That doesn't mean anything. It's just that it's got all components filled in it. By April, they would invite you for an interview. They've scheduled interviews through the whole month of April, from the first week to the last week of April. Students who have passed all these things, who make the cut, will be made an admission offer in mid-May. Courses starting in July. So if you've scored a 99.5 percentile, don't worry about the test and apply to this also. Because by the time the ISB interviews are over, is when your IIM interviews are also going to be over. Your admission results for both of them are going to be available in mid-May. At that point, you can take the call. Hey, I've gotten to one of the black eyes, I'm going with that. I've gotten to FMS, I'm going with that. But I got something else which is like a lower rung IIM, whereas I got the ISB's YLP program. I'll go for this. You make the call at that point in time. You're adding one more option in your entire basket of things that you can choose from. If CAT did not go well, you definitely should look at this option. Basically, by adding one more test to it, which is valid for 5 years, you're making it possible for you to start a top-notch MBA in 2026. Your being an effective manager starts with repurposing your CAT preparation into an actionable GRE or GMAT preparation. You have only 70 days in hand, and you've got multiple things to do if you'll have to catch this 2026 deadline. So you cannot be looking around in forums, you cannot be trying to do self-preparation and do these course correction from CAT to GMAT or GRE. You need a structured preparation. Wizako offers live online classes for the GMAT. It's a 9-week program, beautifully structured in this 2-month window to help you navigate through this entire journey from CAT to the GMAT and convert it into that effective 675 plus score. Our classes are held on Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays in the night from 9 to 11:30. Classes are taken by me. I am an IIM Calcutta graduate. I handle quant and data sufficiency. And my colleague Shweta, who's got a 780 in the GMAT, graduated from USC Marshall with a 100% scholarship, she handles data insights and the verbal section. Sign up for a demo. The link is given below. And take a class with us. See if we can help you transition from CAT to GMAT and get into ISB this year.